Joined now by Steve Marik from Inside Nebraska, Rivals from Rivals.com. Steve, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com with us as well. This is the Indiana-Nebraska game is not one that most people are going to look at as the must-see TV, but fans on both sides, this is a game that both programs have to be looking at as a game that they have to win.
Yeah, just on our end from Nebraska's side of things, this is a get-right game, at least in my opinion. Obviously, things have not gone the way the Huskers have wanted to start the season, and they're coming off a bye week. They have the interim defensive coordinator in place. They have obviously Mickey Joseph as the interim head coach, and they're just looking for life, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And just doing a little research and watching Indiana's games, you guys have an offense that is capable of putting up points, not always as consistent doing it, but so it's just going to be I think it's going to be an entertaining game. It's going to be a good, hard-fought game. I believe in a lot of the fans here in Husker land just want to see the defense kind of just show some life, show something against Connor Bazelak and Sean Shivers and Cam Camper, who a really good receiver that I like out of the junior college ranks. So, yeah, I mean it's going to be a really entertaining game, and we'll see how it goes.
First off, how you doing, Steve? We used to work
Justin,
together on Saturday.
I haven't talked to you in a while.
I know it's
I didn't know
well.
this.
Yeah,
I love it's like the love connection here at Indiana Sports Beat. I always love bringing people together.
We had a few chats, but this is our first time talking face to face. Virtually face to face.
This is close as it gets in this day and age. This is face to face.
One thing I wanted to get your opinion on, because we talked about this yesterday and briefly, what was kind of the fan reaction to the comments about Tom Allen, being a clown? I don't know if you heard this, but I don't know if you heard this. The biggest clown in college football. It seems like to me, again, I'm not a guy. If you don't like Tom Allen, that's fine. I don't care. Whatever. But it seems like Nebraska had some things that would work in its favor. Having an extra week to prepare for Indiana, you get to play loose. There's really nothing to lose. And then all of a sudden you have a former staff member say something like that that's going to get back into the Indiana locker room. I mean, what was the perception, or how was that received among the fan base? Was there some agreement there, or was it more, why are you saying this? We've got to win this game. Why give them any sort of fuel heading into this contest?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of both, honestly. Yeah, I mean that guy, he was honestly, I don't know what the benefit is of having him come on. I mean, he's not on the staff anymore. He was on Bo Pelini's staff as the defensive line coach. But,
because he was going to say something like that and get them.
Yeah, probably. Attention. Yeah, he's an outspoken guy, kind of a troubled past, had some stuff in the past that's not great. So it's just not a great look. But, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of maybe like half the fan base is on his side, and just because it's like and I mean that just because it's like an opponent. Sure. We don't want to say good things about Indiana and its head coach and things like that. There was also a lot of fans in the fan base that are like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing this for? It's not a good look. So I think it was pretty right, left, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, in my personal opinion, I didn't care for the comments, but like, why even have that guy on? But that's just me, and it is what it is, and it happened. And Indiana and Nebraska isn't a rivalry, but boy, there's been some edge to this game, right? I mean, go back to 2019 and the boos with Memorial Stadium, thinking Indiana's players were faking the injuries, and that's always
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's always a hard thing to kind of.
Oh, and Indiana was already pissed off at the comments Scott Frost had made.
That was on top of what was already like under the surface, waiting to explode. So,
well, it was big that I'm no one, and in the post-game presser of that game, Tom Allen was just fired up after they won. And he's at the podium, and you could tell he didn't say what he wanted to say, but he hit that podium hard. And I remember ESPN Sports Center had reached out to me to use my clip for Sports Center. I didn't get the message in time, unfortunately, but that's how big that thing was. Sports Center they wanted that clip, man. It was emotion, and I'm sure there's some hangover there. But I wonder, does that show a culture of disrespect that had been there under Scott Frost and that leadership?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into that because I don't really know. I wasn't covering the team during that time, but there was a lot of things that went on in Scott Frost's tenure here that a lot of people probably don't like, and for good reason.
Right.
There's a lot of stories coming out right now just after the fact that he's gone, and things kind of coming to light about how he ran the program and the things that may not have been the most professional. But yeah, I mean, that's neither here nor there. It's done. It's over with. Everybody's kind of just wanting to support this team and see what they do against Indiana here, because honestly, right now, I think Nebraska fans have a lot to look forward to with the way things are going in college football. The new college football world. I don't even know if there's going to be divisions in 2 seasons now, and Nebraska has a very expensive, very unique training facility that's being built right now, right outside Memorial Stadium. They have a great NIL foundation, just another organization popped up in Omaha, which is looking to do some really, really good things for Nebraska's student athletes. And it has the backing of athletic director Trev Alberts too. So that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, and nowadays with the coach search, how you can flip a roster almost immediately in an off season with the transfer portal. There's a lot of good things going on at Nebraska right now. So I think people around here especially are really looking forward instead of back. And in my opinion, that's a good way to do it.
Absolutely. It's always a good way. It is a fantastic environment there. I know that they're at roughly 385 sellouts now, consecutive.
Yeah. They just and that was kind of
did they get the sellout? I was going to say,
that was kind of a talking point this week. Is would Indiana be a sellout? And they did get there. So it's going to be a week by week discussion, according to Trev Alberts, the athletic director. So
what that means is there's going to have to be some businesses ponying up money probably for the rest of the year, possibly, except for the major games.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of help continuing this sellout streak for sure. But looking into the future with Nebraska football, there's talks about just doing some work on Memorial Stadium and maybe lowering the capacity. That's being close to being passed here soon. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. And it's just another thing.
They really want to keep that streak alive, huh?
Yeah, it's important to a lot of people here in the state for sure.
So what are you expecting? No, I'm sorry. So what are you expecting in the game? I look at it. I try to be as objective as heck. This one's a tough one to pick because both teams have gigantic flaws that favor the other team. I can't imagine Indiana's defense will be as bad as it was against Cincinnati. It seemed like an anomaly. Their strongest unit was the secondary, which that doesn't help them against Nebraska. Their biggest problem was stopping the run, and they had a problem stopping the run in the second half against Western Kentucky. Held them to 33 yards first half, 130 in the second half. And Nebraska has a solid running core. Indiana has to have worked on that, and I think that just because it'll take Nebraska longer to score, Indiana's just a quicker firing team. I think Indiana, especially, I'll take those points all day long. But I think Indiana will end up getting the win just because of the pace offense, and they're going to run more plays, basically.
Yeah, you guys run a lot of plays. That is for sure. It's a fast tempo offense. With kind of a gunslinger back there with Connor Bazelak. I mean, with this game, here at Inside Nebraska with my colleagues, we kind of did some content on what we predict with the team with this game yesterday, and I picked Indiana to win. Have it written down right here, 38-34. I think it's going to be a tight one-score game, and I'm at the point right now, and I'm not alone here at Nebraska, that Nebraska, this football team, needs to show the fan base something, and until they do that, I'm not going to pick them to win a football game. They need to show some life. It's been that bad on the defensive side of the ball. They are near the bottom in the country in rushing yards allowed, rushing yards per carry. It's just been so bad. I mean, it obviously led to the defensive coordinator Eric Shenander losing his job and just having to move around some pieces on the staff to figure this thing out. But Bill Busch comes in as the interim defensive coordinator. He's a longtime coach, has a lot of experience coaching, but he hasn't been a defensive coordinator in a long time. I think it was maybe he was a co-defensive coordinator at Rutgers in around 2017, 2016, sometime around there. And then before that at Utah State, but that was like 2009. That was like when I was graduating high school. So the game has obviously changed. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how much difference, how much of an impact Bill Busch, the insertion of Bill Busch as D coordinator is going to make, because we think it's going to be a lot of the same players out there on defense for Nebraska. So I don't know. I just think, with the way I think Nebraska's offense can keep the Huskers in this with Casey Thompson at quarterback. I know Indiana's pass defense has really struggled for sure, but in order for Casey Thompson to find his talented guys like Trey Palmer, Marcus Washington, Travis Vokalek down the field, he needs to stay upright. And for that to happen, he needs to be protected. And Nebraska's offensive line has been very bad protecting Thompson this year. I think they've allowed 11 sacks, which is worse than the Big Ten, pretty far down in the country. And I know just from watching Indiana's games, I really like Cam Jones coming after the quarterback. I really like Dasan McCullough, the true freshman, 6'5", 230 pounds, one of the, if not the best rated recruit in Indiana football history. I really like to look at that guy.
And he's showing it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so, there's a lot of questions on Nebraska's offensive line right now. They have their starting left tackle, Teddy Prohaska, out for the season with an injury. Kevin Williams Jr., a transfer he's from Omaha, and he's a kind of a utility lineman. He can play guard and tackle. He's a transfer from Northern Colorado. He's out with a high ankle sprain, and that's going to take a long time for him to get back. So Nebraska's just not very good on the edges at the tackle, with Bryce Benhart at right tackle and Turner Corcoran at left tackle. So I don't know. I think Indiana's going to see what other defenses have done to Nebraska's offensive line in the past, especially Oklahoma, and they're going to be like, hey, why can't we do that? And I think they could probably get there too. They can get home in Casey Thompson and make him uncomfortable. Because as we saw against Oklahoma, if you get to Casey Thompson and you lay some hits on him, he gets uncomfortable, and he's not the same quarterback if he's just sitting back there and with time and he's able to pick a defense apart. He's really good at that, but if he has some pressure in his face, he's not as good. But a lot of quarterbacks aren't when that happens. So, I just think that Indiana has – I don't know. I just want to see something from Nebraska is what I'm trying to say. They haven't shown anything for the past 3 weeks, and an upset loss to Georgia Southern, and then just a complete blowout where I think some players really had a lack of effort on some plays against Oklahoma when it was starting to get bad, and you never want to see lack of effort just kind of stop playing during the game. And I think there were some hints of that against the Sooners. So just show us something. I think that's where Husker fans are at right now with the defense. Show us something. But until they do, I'm not going to pick them. I think Indiana is going to get out of here with a tight win.